This video is about how we are going to use .env files in Vite project. So let's get started. First of all, open up command prompt and then create a new Vite project inside your desktop maybe. So open up your terminal now and then try to run npm install and npm run dev. Now head over to this link and you can see that your app will look something like this. So let's change something over here. Open up your app.tsx file and then delete everything. Delete everything over here. Let's call it app. We don't need anything here, so clear all of the sections and just put app over here, and it should look something like this. So the next thing we're going to do is console out env variable. So in Vite, this is how you are going to access env variable, using import.meta.env dot the name of the variable that is inside env. So just for now, let's try to console this part. So in console, we can see that our env file has a lot of values. So we are going to be focusing on this mode part. So let's render this mode instead of app. So our mode is development, and in console you can see it is in development mode. Okay, so clear the console. Now let's try to make a new env file. So this will be in the root section, not inside src. That is my bad. So in here, all of the Vite env variables start with Vite and underscore. So be careful with that. And let's name our variable as backend API. For now, let's call it https api test.backend.com. So if we go over to our app and then see in our environment file, we can see that it is rendering this variable Vite backend API. So there's an extra variable that our env variable can access. So that is by env dot, by copying this variable we can access it. So let's render that as well in our DOM. So it is going to look like this. So it is going to look something like this. So as you can see, we have app API here and then mode here. So currently .env variable, .env file is being used, and all of its variables are displaying over here. Let's create a new variable now. Let's call it .env.development. Now, okay, so I keep making variables. I keep making these files inside src. We should move this to root folder at the root location. And yeah, so that's my bad again. So let's copy this variable again and paste it over .env.development. Let's call it development, like so. So when we head over to our app, you can see that it is rendering API-development instead of API-test, because this is currently in mode development and it is going to focus .env.development file. This .env.development will replace .env. So when I remove this value will be taken by default, but but if this is present, then this will replace this .env. Now let's try to go for production as well. So let's create a new env file, .env.production. Yes, and again I have made this file over inside src. So we should move it to the root section. Let's copy paste the file again here, and then let's call it production. So in order to run our production variable in our development mode, actually we need our mode in development in production. So let's create a new script over here. So as you can see, we were running this npm run dev, and it will take mode development by default. So we're going to need to create a new script that's going to take mode as production. So if we close this server, Control C, and then run npm run prod, and then head over to our app, it will refresh and then change our mode to production. So as you can see there, this is mode is production here, and we are using Vite backend URL as API production.backend.com.
Oh
So
shit.
that's it.
Here we go again.
Now the next thing we are going to need to know is when building files also, we need to know which .env file to use. So in order to do that, let's close the server again, and let's try to run this npm run build. So our new dist folder has been created, and inside there is an index.html, and in assets we can see the compiled versions of CSS and JS. So let's run this index.html file in lab server. So in our lab server, it is trying to run this in index.html, but it is fine. It has found the title, but it is not finding the other files, so that's why the other content is not appearing here. So let's try to debug in console, and we can see that not found. So the file has not been found, this file. So we can again double check and verify this by going to the page source, and then if we go over here, so there's an error here. Yeah, so the file is not found. So this happens because this is trying to get the absolute path from here, which is actually not found in our localhost or in non-environment mode. When typically running on a server, we need to be careful of where our files are. So the fix here can be setting our base path to something like dot slash, and this will solve the problem. But so by default it will take slash as the base URL, which you can see over here. So it is taking slash by default. So when we do this then it is going to replace that absolute with this relative path dot slash. Now so this field file will still give error because it has already been compiled, so we need to recompile it again. So let's do npm run build. Okay, so it has been built, and then let's head over to our file here, and then you can see in our live server it takes this 5500 port by default, and then inside here we can see /disk /index.html, which is the file that we want over here, and the mode is production, which is good. That is what we want. But yeah, another thing is this port is cached by default. So when I refresh this will go away because I have not run the server here. So it was previous server. So I also close this again, and then if I want, so generally all of the codes that we run are tested in development mode. So we need to like test the compiled version in development mode and then only push it to production. So this is not ideal. So for the ideal scenario, we are going to need another script file over here, and let's call it dev, and it is going to take mode development. So let's try to recompile it again, this time with build and dev. So when you hit over here, then it was production before, now it's development. So this is where we will test our front end, all of the codes that we do in development, and then when it is finally ready, then we will push it to npm build, and this will take production as mode by default, this build, and this will dev will take development as default, mode as default. So yeah, so we need to be careful when to use more production or dev. Thank you for watching.